Oh. It's our login.
Hello, folks. Welcome to another episode of the Star Citizen Report. You got here Thamin, and I've got both Whoopinyo and Arlia tonight.
Everybody.
Hey. Let's say welcome to another episode. We can talk about, yeah, there we go. Answers in the chat right there. We can hear you. Can hear Whoop anyway.
I didn't want to say anything.
I can't get my Twitch to work right, so
We do. We can't really have a noiseless opening broadcast. Folks, welcome to the show. Like I said, we broadcast every other Saturday at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time on twitch.tv/grievance. And followed by tonight, at least at 8 o'clock, Eggy. She's going to be Arlia. Do you want to go ahead and just mention
Oh,
that
yeah,
part?
sure. Yeah. For everyone out there, the clown is moving around. The clown is moving around. Eggy, beware. Pineview Drive, 2000 hours Central. Don't sleep, won't sleep. GTGN.TV. Be there. It's going to be fun. Let's scare her. Also, we'd like to mention that Jump Point came out on Friday, 3.04, and it talks mostly about the Vanguard, shows how the concept was built, mentions a new system called the Cyrus, which we'll find out a little bit later, Fuel Pump and Cryastro, and the end of Phantom Bounty Part 4. For those of you that don't subscribe, this is really interesting. You'll be able to see them. Also, Star Citizen is less than 125,000 people away from 1 million Star Citizens. That is amazing from what we originally started with.
We're
That's
definitely
going to
going
be
to be
great.
hitting that number before the end of the year. It's definitely before
Yeah.
release.
Oh, yeah. And we also have 245 tickets to Gamescom in Cologne, Germany, available for Star Citizen. They're only $20 still. If you can get to Germany, and there's a ticket for you. And this show will be back on May 2nd at 1800 hours Central. For those of you that are wondering when we're going to be, it's also posted on our RSI Grievance website.
They mentioned, too, if you do happen to get to Cologne, Germany, the Gamescom attendees will relieve an exclusive Cologne 2945 poster for their hangars and a local-themed ship skin.
Mhm.
So there's a few perks for those who can
the
get
first
there.
in the series of pins and stuff. Yeah, you
I
can buy
want
ships while you're there.
the hat. That's what I want. I want that Star Citizen hat. Now, I'm not sure if that's at one of these convention things that they go to. I don't know. I have not seen them in the store. Please, Sandy, if you're out there, if you ever do hear us, please, we want hats.
This
Bring
is in
back the
Team Fortress
towels,
Classic too.
Yeah, bring back the towels too. We need more towels.
All right. And folks, later today, one of our biggest discussions, one of the bigger releases, is a design of the first-person shooter stances and breathing. More importantly, how they are kind of redesigning first-person shooting gameplay, putting some extra new mechanics into it to give it their own twist. We did have a few other little announcements working up to that. And before we cover Around the Verse and 10 for the Chairman and share some more videos with you, Alpha 1.1.1 was released. And of course, they went into the whole discussion of the numbering system because normally a 1.0 is a commercial release. And they don't want to mess with their numbering, so they're just calling it now the Alpha 1.1.1. And everyone's tripping over the numbers in that one.
So we're finally in alpha, not pre-alpha anymore. We're finally in alpha.
I guess you could say that.
Oh boy, hold on, folks. It's going
If
to be a
it's an
rough ride.
alpha 1 point anything, we must be an alpha. The Anvil Gladiator is flyable, and that is coming with quite the payload, it sounds like. And that ship's supposed to end up taking out some major competition with its torpedoes. And so there was a little description of it. Right now, torpedoes would do it no good, so they are putting, what was it, Class 5 missiles on the thing?
Mm-hmm.
So pretty good-sized missiles to face against that one. And I can't complain. That's what it's designed for. It's designed as a missile boat. It's designed so that if you're in a fighter, you want to keep that thing away from your capital ships.
This is like the old World War II torpedo bomber. What I'm thinking. Whereas the Retaliator is more like your B-2, your modern day Tomahawk bomber kind of combination thing.
Tomahawk
This is
bomber.
yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, and I was going to say, and as Ansler pointed out, these big missiles hit hard, but they're slow. They did point out that the Gladiator does kind of operate like a dive bomber. It seemed to give the impression that they are just straight, like dumbfire missiles, and that thing has to then kind of guide them in close and release them to hit the target.
This is going to be like, oh boy, this is going to be fun. Hide behind the very large ship, and everybody just peels away to launch. That's going to be interesting.
The other thing I was going to show, I shared this with some of you guys. There is a picture here of the current white box rendering of the ships in Star Citizen. And I was trying to track down its author because I saw it linked off a site for Guild Stormcloud Armada, but they said the author there reposted it from a subreddit author /u/board_Dell-technician. What would we do without those board technicians to kind of open up the back end of things for us here?
Dude, you're getting a Dell.
And check out the size comparison we have here. You can see all the ships. You can see, especially the biggest ships. Like I look at the Origin Jump, and I thought it'd be bigger. I mean, the Carrack is almost as big as the Jump, and it's smaller than the Reclaimer and the Orion mining ship.
Mm-hmm. I wanted to say something about that Orion mining ship with the 3 rotating grinder storage things. If you have 2 of them are running clockwise or counterclockwise, and the other one is running the opposite way. So I'm thinking, is there a physics problem with while the ship is parked mining and these things are rotating? I could see that 1 and 2 would negate each other, but the third one running in whatever direction it is and filling up with mass, would that have a problem? Should there not be a 4th ring in order to balance that?
That depends on the propulsion system, very similar to a helicopter.
All right, so it's going to use more fuel to try to stabilize itself?
Different power supply, possibly. Power source. Different way the engine will be rotating, but
load
don't
the
know
middle
yet.
one with twice as much as you put in the ones front and back of it.
Yeah, you could do that.
And also, are these locked into place while you're transiting from like where you store your ship to the asteroids, or is this constantly moving as you're moving around?
Maybe you
I
could
would,
launch him as another projectile as well.
no, I'm thinking. No, I'm thinking they should be static at some particular point, like if you're docking at a station or with other ships, or else you're gonna, it can be really messy.
Yeah, cement
And
mix here.
Yeah.
I should mention, Answer also point out they're not white box. They're the models pulled from the website's HoloViewer, scaled based on the ship stats page size listings. Okay, I'll trust you on that. All I know is the reference that I got it from said they were the current white box renders. Now it's possible that they just looked at it and maybe thought that's what it was. So I apologize if that is
This is
misleading.
this is all going to be updated in another 6 months too. Wait until the whole
Now
seat comes out.
The
You see how big
controversy, the controversy I saw when this came out though was people are pointing at the Idris up there on top. At least
Mhm.
I think I'd say it's the Idris. I was actually a few people were commenting they thought it was other, but I believe that's the Idris.
That's the address.
And folks were saying they weren't impressed. They were saying a few gladiators and retaliators could punch some big holes in that thing. Which again, I'm thinking that's their job. That's what they do. Your job as a fighter escort is to keep them away from that ship.
The ship
You're
is only
also-
supposed to carry 3 fighters. That's it. 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, but if it's a fighter pilot like myself, I can take care of a retaliator myself. No problem. Or at least that's my story.
Okay.
If we have 32 people in an area, if that's what they're trying to do, so if you have one ship, which is an Idris, and it has 60 people aboard, and you have another 31 ships, it's going to be a hairball is what's going to happen. It's going to be really wild and hectic out there.
Let's hope they get everything running nicely. We've definitely seen some games out there in which a lot can be going on the screen, and it still runs smoothly. So definitely. Okay, and Answer pointed out something. Which was part of the arguments. That is the Idris, but the old model scaled up to the new size. So.
Well, it's going to be a little wider, and I think a little bit longer, isn't it?
Yeah, which I think was the thing, because I looked at it and saw Idris, but we knew there was some redesigns.
Who was the
Crazy.
company? Wasn't the company out of Mexico that was the third party that was helping build the Idris originally? And now it's over at Manchester?
Rings a bell, but I
Uh-huh.
couldn't tell you.
Yeah, because I remember during the very first year, they were interviewing these people and they were talking, and now we don't hear anything about them anymore. So I'm wondering what happened. They got fired?
I don't know. This still sounds like there's still a lot of contract stuff going out, and
Mm-hmm.
so I don't know if
Oh,
we can
yeah.
track it all.
That's what they were mentioning on 40 already, ATV 40, around the verse.
Again, welcome, folks. You have some new people in the live chat here. Thanks. For those of you watching this on later on YouTube, you got to catch the live chat. You guys ready to just go into our design examination of what they're
Sure.
doing? All right.
Yeah.
Why not?
All right.
Go,
So
go, go.
they released the latest design article about first-person shooter stances and breathing. And what they're saying is that, the first-person mode, Star Marine, is going to make a conscious effort to throw out some of the systems that have been standard for first-person shooters, and they're trying to set this apart and even add more balance to the gameplay. So this design, they're trying to focus on the different stances players take as they aim and they move, as well as their breathing, their stamina, their breathing, and how that's going to affect the gun during combat. And they just think both is going to add a lot of balance, tactical gameplay, and overall realism.
It would be very tactical. Realism, little borderline. Yes and no. It's a very slow-paced shooter. When you look at today's modern days, Battlefield, Call of Duty, any of them right now, you are running and gunning almost the entire time. You duck for cover, you heal yourself after not getting shot for like 10 seconds or something, and you don't have to get medical attention, whatever. And then you pop your head up over the whatever that you are leaning against for cover, and you shoot people in the head, and that's it. You just keep on running the entire time. With this breathing mechanic, you can't run because you can't see. If you can't see what you're shooting, you're just firing blanks.
So it's going to
safe for
be.
anybody.
Do you think it's going to be more like the training that we see for our troops and law enforcement when they do the in the room type thing and down the streets and alleys?
When you're taking rooms, yes, you're going to be doing room clearing, but it's going to take like a minute to clear each room. It's going to be that slow. So the target acquisition has to be right on. If somebody is waiting in ADS, which is aimed down the sights view, they're going to take you out as soon as you open up the door because you're not going to be sure where to go, and you're going to take time to go into ADS. A couple of our Grievance players who play the first-person shooter FPSs, they like the run and gun style, and they're going to have a really hard time getting used to it. I know Memo, he's going to want a shotgun, he's going to run in full bore, and he's going to get blown away. It's going to be a horrible day for him. So
we're going to have to.
So let's plan, since Memo's not here, maybe he won't have time to catch the show before it happens. So Memo's going to be our find the enemy. Memo, run down that hall and see and hear the gunfire. It's like, okay, they're there, now we can plan.
Well,
But we could always turn off the gravity, and that just makes things a little bit more interesting.
interesting, yes, but easier, no. There's going to be a lot of snipers. People are going to hunker down in one area because they're not going to be able to move. It's talking about your breathing changing where you're going to be shooting, which is true in sniper rifles. I get that. And assault rifles too. So you're going to be firing in bursts at the top and the bottom of your breath. So you got to time your breath along with how your barrel is going to be moving. And it's really hard to do when there's a lot of people coming at you. But since it's going to be slow, you're just going to be waiting for the guy to walk right in front of you, and that's it.
Well, okay, that's we're talking about projectiles and laser weapons. What about the melee weapons and the crossbow that they're going to add into the game? So if you get,
can do the same thing as the sniper rifle, it's just a longer reload.
Well, you could say, because what they were kind of saying was kind of at the end of the thing here, that as this stamina and breathing thing and how it aims and how it affects your character comes into it, it opens up the fact of how they might take some concepts like future brawling and see how that can develop. You know, where even the brawling is a mix of timing your jabs, your blocks, your stamina, while not just mashing the button, which is going to tire yourself out and not be able to do too well. So they kind of made it sound like if you apply that to the melee weapons, it sounds like, too, if you're just trying to go up someone like stab with the knife or so, it's going to be inaccurate. It's going to be tire you quick. You won't be able to run away for cover.
I'm thinking of a tactic here. If you're on a station and you're wearing your suit and everything else, and that you're breathing out of your suit, the station's already been decompressed. But what if you're in a place where it's not decompressed and you can decompress it? Are some of these people going to take off their helmet, kind of thing, and run without the helmet? Because this is a good way of getting rid of them.
Who's saying that a helmet would stop a shot anyways?
No, I'm breathing. You're breathing. If you can't breathe, you're in serious trouble. You're not aiming down anything. You're trying to, catch your breath.
I think, the
Eyeballs
way
get
Star
sucked out of your
Citizens
head.
do it, they're gonna force you to want to wear the helmet because that's where your HUD's gonna be. That's a lot of your info. So a person could lose that, but still the explosiveness of the decompression, you time it right. I'm gonna go ahead.
It is very
and,
immersive. The way that they're going, it is totally immersive. It's more realistic. If you get shot and you have one life, you're dead. I get that, but at the same time, it's very slow paced. I think it's going to be a hard thing for a lot of our members, a lot of people out there in Star Citizen to get used to when you're doing high paced, high action with starfighters, and then you get on the ground and you have to take 10 minutes to clear out a station. I don't know.
And a lot of those people, like I say, if they are, yes, I like Call of Duty, but let's point out Call of Duty like that are just running in, and people are like, don't camp. Well, you know what? Camping is a tactic. You've got a big space station. Definitely, if you're in a defensive position, then short of whatever they might do with all the little trick grenades and stuff they can do, things are going to favor the defenders unless you got attackers that are communicating and planning. And
if you're in a station and you got a crew that's running in, why don't you have the pilot in the ship come around and start strafing into the other areas of the hull? And they're going to be what? I mean, that's a good tactic as well, but is that going to be allowed in the game, or are you guys going to be, we are in space, now we land, now we get out, and then we have to fight room to room?
That's called danger close.
There were fixed points that you could enter a craft. So by definition, I guess it kind of points out too where you have certainly entries you can do, and I'm starting to think of what if your buddy ends up just blowing the ship while you're on it.
Mm-hmm.
See.
You could damage the hull of the whatever that you're in and kill everybody on board. And good thing that you were defending that.
I'm gonna share with you little slideshows that they're going with 3 stances, because normally these first-person shooters tend to only have the 2. You're running and you can shoot from the hip, or you're aiming. And the way they've said it, there's the lowered stance, which is the first one. That's the one where you're actually running, sprinting, jumping. If you try to fire, it actually shifts you into the ready mode. They actually kind of said 2 little disagreeable things along that point, but it sounds like it moves you into a ready mode because you're going to be wildly inaccurate with that gun. But that gives you the most view of your HUD, of the battlefield. As you start to come into ready, your character will slow down. They'll bring the weapon to the shoulder, even though they're not necessarily looking down the sights. And they're saying that mode is actually the closest to hip fire, where the bullets spread and sway are definitely better than if you would have been running, but they're still going to be not as accurate. And then you got aim down the sights, where it's most accurate, the smallest bullet spread, but the gun sights are taking up most of your vision. You're forced where you can't sprint, move slow, and all this takes time. It takes time to go from stance to stance, so it's not like you can just go from a run to aiming and shooting like that.
And was it they say something like 3 seconds or something between them?
That's an eternity in a firefight.
Yeah.
So there's going to be that time, and then of course, then you're trying to time everything else because of your breathing, because of the motion. I'm going to come back to that answer because I didn't hear that. I did hear that the Hull series is the next concept we'll see. I'm going to share
Thank you,
answer I
Ansler.
put in there, and just I'm going to come back to that and share that for our YouTube crowd in just a little bit here. Thank you.
Thank you, Ansler. Chris.
All right. And I'm just going to bring down the different HUD picks that it's also showing between going between the 2 modes. You can definitely see aiming down the sights, and you can't really see much of your HUD, much of anything aside from what's down the sights. And then, of course, you got the wider view where you're not going to hit anything, but you can see just about everything else. Your mini radar, your info, you get to see the battlefield, see where you're going.
I hope you can change the reticles.
Hopefully. So I would think you'd be able to customize that the way they do everything else here.
Yeah, sure.
So now to go in with that, because we were talking about the stances, but we're talking about the breathing too, and then it brings stamina into play. So players are going to have a stamina. As you sprint, climb, or hold your breath for a good shot, it reduces your stamina. And as you lose your stamina, it impairs your ability to sprint. It impairs your ability to hold your breath to aim properly. And basically, yes, you have to rest to kind of bring that back. That, again, forces you to slow down. If you're running all over the place, your bullets are going to be all over the place. Mm-hmm. So, yes, you could easily run into an easy ambush for the other player.
If you have 3 seconds from lowered to ADS, then it doesn't really matter.
Yeah. And that's when they kind of brought armor into it too, because the heavier protection you wear, the heavier armor, the stamina drains faster. Now, they did say that the armor will not affect how well you regain stamina if you're holding still, but any of those other things that you're running, any of those other things that drain stamina, is just going to drain faster and heavier armor. So that kind of puts a little balancing aspect to that as well.
And each different system that you play has a different way of dealing with stamina. Call of Duty, you just stop and slow down. Battlefield, you slow down and you can hear your guy the whole time. Arma 3, your guy is stuck in wind, and you can see that the screen gets darker around the circle in the center and stuff like that. And there's a mod that I got that has this little bar that's awesome. You just watch it drain and then you watch it fill back up. It's great to use.
And it sounds like this does. I mean, we already get some. Let's see, in Arena Commander, we get the little blackout effect. And here they said, too, they're designing ways to, again, signal that stamina, but trying to not take you out of the immersion, whether it's a heart rate monitor, your mask fogging up, things like that.
Your pacemaker not functioning.
That would suck.
Gosh.
Oh, the EMP blast, not again.
Costs extra for the EMP shielding under your pacemaker. That sounds like a good idea.
Oh, wait, I have to go plug myself into the ship so I can charge myself before the battle. I'll be back in an hour, people. AFK.
Robotic arm starts picking your nose. Why am I doing this? No.
Can't you see I'm busy?
Start doing the electric slide. That'd be awesome. Hide that in there.
Oh, boy.
All right. And yeah,
More
I was next
pictures?
I had breathing, which we kind of. Sorry?
More pictures.
More pictures? Okay. Here's one of the that came out with the. I have a. This one. This is the perfect one. This is what happens when you're not careful tooling around your hangar and you manage to crash your buggy.
You still have
Leah,
that
you
thing?
did ask for that picture. So.
Yeah.
I'm going to hang on to that one.
I'm going to try to get some more pictures of the hangar soon.
Something to replace the buggy pick.
Yeah.
Well, here's the Tyrol system. They had this picture kind of involved when they were discussing that this week.
I'm going to have to get the freelancer in there and try to get both buggies working. I have to get that over to send to him. I was attempting to do that on YouTube, but it just wouldn't take the voiceover for some reason. What is happening in my hangar is that there's two buggies, and if you bump into one, they both start going counterclockwise. So that's not good.
Yeah, that's probably not designed as intended.
No.
All right. So, before I go into I actually don't want us to have anything to add to that.
To which one? The breathing?
I don't have a buggy, so.
The breathing and the first person, because I think we covered everything. I mean, that's how tactical it makes it, because we've been there with even the people that run around with the sniper rifles, that somehow they can pop in a shot. It doesn't seem like they even have the scope to their eyes, and they fired a shot and killed somebody.
That's because
jumping no scope headshot. Yeah, we've all seen that.
That's because these games don't have that point where, I mean, in real life, you're not running around with a sniper rifle and shooting people a mile away. You're sitting there waiting for them, and you have to check your wind and distance and everything. In space, in the vacuum, you don't have to worry about the wind and everything, but something's going to go on.
Solar wind.
So yeah. Yeah.
So,
Don't
I think it's a lot of good balancing mechanics where it does. I think that is important, where it does kind of slow down that pace, and it's not like you're going to be respawning and running in. You've got that one life, and you're hoping that if you get down, that one of your medics is also able to help you and get you back to your ship. So I do think it's going to throw a whole lot more tactical, thinking-based gameplay into the first-person shooter aspect.
Mm-hmm. What
I do
about?
like
Go ahead.
I do like how they're doing the medic. You get the different skill parts of the tree to help build yourself. Like if you put 1 point in medic, you get like a stim pack, and you can drag people away or something like that. So the higher level that you get, you can do surgery and replace limbs and do crash code blue for crash carts and stuff like that to get them up with the defibrillators, and I think that's really cool.
So our characters are going to get some skill points, or how is this working?
It says something about 3 different levels of it right now, much like the mining for Orion.
I think it's probably they mentioned skill, but I don't think it's necessary. I think it's still probably something that's a little based on your character doing it and doing it well, and maybe somehow they get these perks. Maybe somehow they have the equipment.
What's
It's
it like,
song,
a mini
so
game?
you know.
Do you think it's almost like a little mini game where you have to push?
Definitely.
Oh, maybe
Yeah.
maybe it's like a qualification. Let's say you're rescuing players and you're good at the lowest level, and all of a sudden maybe it unlocks gear or something like that.
Could be.
Brain surgery next year.
Level 6. Wait.
And this part we're guessing, so yeah, feel free to comment on the YouTube later. Let me drop back then and go what Answer brought up. Now we knew part of this from around the verse 40 that just came out. They said the whole series will be the next concept sale that we see, and Answer in chat here says that's going to be next Friday, April 24th, although it doesn't mention a price yet, and he linked a discussion to it on the forums. So, I like that. I was also commenting on what we were just talking about, Surgeon Simulator 2945. But so that is the latest news. So we are going to see that Missy, I'm suing Missy, but the whole series.
Misashi, yeah. I call it Missy.
Miscellaneous. Miscellaneous. Sea Hull was supposed to be the next. Who's see? Maybe they'll kind of tell us about the whole line.
Just to comment on Chris's surgeon simulator. It's the old operation with the tweezers.
What's going to light up red?
Don't push the red button.
Okay.
The whole C that's the only one they're going to do. They're not going to do the other alphabet characters, are they not?
I'm assuming it's the whole C. I was just kind of inwardly hoping that they might give us a peek or tell us something more about the line, but we're only really expecting the whole C.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I'm just kind of showing the little armor that they put on the last around the verse as well. They were
40.
showing that off. The only thing I missed about that, I'll stop it here, is
it's really good looking armor.
I like the armor. My only bad spot about this, as folks can see where I paused it, is I think it limits you looking up. Because there's a nose piece that does kind of drop firmly down in front, right about almost to eye level. So that'd be about the only thing.
Well, can't you tilt your head up? I mean, your head is on a
That's the problem with
swivel
wearing
thing.
glasses or goggles or a helmet or anything. You're always going to have something to block your vision.
Yeah.
You get tunnel vision.
Can you spin it around so you
little
can see the back?
Batman could never really turn his head around with his outfit.
Can you spin this thing around so we see the back, the 2 holes in the back of the helmet?
Hang on a second here. Yeah, let me pull it back up. Let's see.
Yeah. Chris brings up the fact that Sigourney Weaver's alien movies, Marines don't ever look up. They also don't. There's too many floor panels and air vents and things.
A little picture there, the holes in the back of the neck. It's probably a different one. I
When
remember
you
the
come
tubing
close.
was something they had to describe a lot too, because some of the tubing this guy has stretched across his chest used to originally go from like chest to arm and all that, and I remember
think there's
they
a
didn't
closer
like it
version.
that. Oh, I did kind of move into that a moment ago. This
Yeah.
team hasn't caught up with it
Here
yet.
it is, right about stop it there in the back. those 2 holes there, I think that's where your life support system's going in.
Yeah.
So
The
you're going to
brain
be wearing a
sectors.
backpack.
Possibly.
Right
I
on.
don't like how the securing straps that were on his forearm and stuff like that were just like hanging off. If he was a real Marine or whatever, he'd like have some way to keep him down. Being open like that just
Get caught on
cause
something.
more problem.
Yeah. They're
So-
going to work on it.
Let me
Yeah.
patch through a few more few things in news. Oh, Alpha Patch 1.1.2
Now?
is going to introduce the tutorial. So they're going to show both new and experienced pilots some new tricks with flying their ships. It's going to be their first chance to actually encounter an NPC. And they said, do exactly, capital exactly what he says. Rules are there for a reason. Obviously, now we have to do something different and break it. I think that's what they're calling for. It's going to be a narrative-driven tutorial where you take off from London, some basic flight, interact with ship systems, and basic combat.
Take
what?
off from London?
Yeah.
Wait a minute. It was New York, Moscow, and Shanghai. Weren't those the 3 landing? So the 4th starport is at London?
There's probably a few starports all over the place, but they're saying you take off from London. Maybe
Oh,
that's
okay.
their way of throwing something in that doesn't have to be totally fleshed out yet. I noticed at
fly
no
from
point
London
did they
to
said
New
you
York.
would be landing again.
Well, originally there were supposed to be 4 zones on Earth. You had New York, Moscow, Shanghai or Hong Kong area. So London is the 4th one. That was the secret that they did. So they actually dropped the. Whoops.
Maybe they did because they didn't say the 4th one. So they either dropped a secret or they're doing something else with London. I would like to think that if they're taking the trouble to build London for a tutorial, that we're going to see more of it.
No, I've been there, so it's. I want to see how much changed in 900 years.
Oh, they described. So they went in to talk about Sadaball, which is going to be our 0G sporting mode. They said using grappling hooks, and I'm wondering if they made that wrong. If it's still going to be like the little push-pull lasers or something. But they said so. Shooting a ball into a basket. They are developing what they call a crumple jump, where you place your feet on whatever object is floating there, and you jump straight out from that point. They also mentioned they are scaling down the size of their balls. I can't say that with a straight face.
Well, it was like a giant cage ball, beach ball. Now it's more like a soccer ball. And there's only one ball inside a ball. Okay. I would think that
And
I
it's
would have
getting
liked to
smaller
see it
with
like
every
rollerball.
iteration, I guess.
I would have liked to seen it like rollerball, where you have this little metal hand thing and you toss it. And Sadaball is going to be more of the. I think it's going to be more like rugby in 0G. It's going to be brutal.
Yeah, and some of what the first fan backing thing kind of mentioned, I can see that. Because if you could have like even 1 or 2 people on your team, let's say, maybe their job, so to speak, is just to get in and ram other people on the other team. You know, so now they've got to orient themselves. I would not be surprised
Foul.
if that was a tactic.
It's probably a foul too. I mean, we don't know all the rules. We don't know what the playing field is going to look like. Is it going to have obstacles, or is it going to have?
Well, I think it's still basically going to be what we saw in that one 0G arena thing. They said it was. I mean, could be a little different, but I think that's the basic layout of it. Oh, okay, Ansler says, if you can dodge a laser, you can dodge a ball.
Yeah. Yeah, lasers are easy to dodge. You just move slightly slower than the speed of light.
Yeah.
Now people in
the
0G eat plenty of onions, so you get that little bit of extra thrust.
Oh gosh. Yes, that
Pro
ranks
tip
right
right
up
there.
there. Okay. So, the multiplayer issues. Server is allowing too many players into the game that the server rules allowed. So that's causing some of the issues we've been seeing lately. They have been collecting all the feedback and reports to investigate that. They've been working themselves as far as trying to stress out the FPS servers internally, getting all the studios involved in doing that. And that was very entertaining. Sandy Gardner Flight School last night, where they kind of had a in-studio video montage. It was kind of like a little Star Trek II flair.
The Wrath of Khan. Yeah.
Still think that was one of the best movies ever made.
Yeah. The German office opened up. They had a video of the cramped quarters at the looks like there's 16 people or 19 people in there, something like that, in 2 rooms. And I think 2 or 3 of them were out sick, probably because they needed air. But they're doing a lot of work too, so we're going to start getting more. I think in another couple of weeks we'll get some more information on what they're doing.
Folks, you're going to have unlocked several racing ships this weekend. The M50, going to come after the Ansler, the 350R, and the Mustang Gamma. It did say or unlock them with RCs, but either way, you get to play with them for free coming up here so that they can get people in the races and get some feedback from that. I would like to see that too, because so far, I haven't been able to race against anyone. It's just been crashing without any witnesses.
For those people that have not subscribed, the amount of rec that you get after 2 years, I've received 715,000 points. So, I mean, I don't even know what to buy with that.
Man, that's a lot.
Yeah, I didn't even expect that. I figured it was going to be, they give you 5,000. I figured, well, 2 years, maybe, an extra 5 and 5 for, 5 per year. That would have been plenty. But that was just way too much.
All right. I'm going to show, so there's the Zero G. Now I'm going to show also, they've been doing 30-second fan videos. This one is extreme chaffing, however you say that.
Chafing?
Yeah, I don't know, like a chafing pot. I don't know what it is.
What, you're launching chaff?
Yes.
Oh, it's chaff, yeah.
Helps make your
But they added an ing, so I'm like, so that's chaffing?
Chaff itself is plural.
So either way, you got like 4 ships on the runway here. And then someone comes along and drops a lot of chaff, and it gets deadly. Yeah, and there's like so-and-so dies, so-and-so dies, so-and-so dies, all in there. So another way to get your friends killed in the current multiplayer flying. And I'm going to go over to the other one here, where we've got an M50 trying to park in a Constellation.
Oh, that is so funny.
You're deployed that may be a little premature.
You put your bike in a bump.
Oh, I just died.
That killed you.
It's funny, he dies,
you
but he
got
does
so
get
close,
far
like
enough
you're
in where the
inside.
cockpit's in, but
Doors,
the
see what
wings don't quite clear it.
Yeah, and he
Thanks,
he
Jenny.
goes
By the
inverted
way,
too
for
to
those
try
who
to get in there. It's,
follow our team directly. Jenny is now.
And then the little mining drone here. Whoops.
yeah, it was one of the sneak peeks.
Yeah. I kind of came in too close to the end of the sneak peek, so I'm just re-ending that. And you just see how the arms come out and reach around there.
This is a ballet.
There we go. Okay, so I had to show those to everybody. There's some awesome clips there.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's in that, is there? Right? That's
No,
That's a drone.
I believe that's just the drone. So
Hmm.
What can we
Doesn't
cover?
that look a
Getting
little
your-
bit like Guardians of the Galaxy a little bit with the ships that they were piloting? The little miners, only this is much
Oh
smaller.
yeah, it's
Mhm.
kind of like, I want to say egg-shaped ships, but I don't know exactly what you're talking about. All right, we're getting. I'm going to try a few things to wrap up. This is actually around our normal end time, although we're kind of started a little late. Apologize for that.
My
So
fault. Sorry.
I'm okay. A few things. So Chris Roberts has started the film shoot on Squadron 42. They are working on concepts of the Genesis Starliner, which is a really big cruise ship. They said for either riding for a cruise or transporting players, escorting people. They said you might have a chance on missions to either escort one of these things, or you might be a pirate and just want to attack it.
But then again, you could always use it as a cruise liner and then sell your passengers as slaves.
And
That's
I
a
forgot
great
to cover
idea,
part of
Leo.
this too. With the new 1.1.1, there's also some multiplayer on ships. You can land, and the other person can get in the backseat of the Super Hornet or the backseat of the Gladiator. They sounded like they had a video of like 4 people in the back of a Cutlass cruising around. So.
In the med bay.
Mhm.
Oh, you said black, not blue. My bad.
I think it was a black. I didn't see the video, so. They said they want to make sure these shops can specialize in a different functionality. So Cubby Blast, which is the weapon shop, may have a shooting range out back. Astro Armada, where you buy ships, may be designed around the fact that people may spend a long time perusing ships they're going to buy.
Now, is that going to be just a holographic, or are you going to be able to walk around a holographic ship? Because it doesn't sound like they're going to have a a showroom, where you actually have the ship that you can get in.
I'd totally do that. I would put it in the showroom.
I would like to think they could get around it by just doing a door, which is connected to the elevator, and they'll say, "Well, we'll load up a model for you to walk through in a moment here." Hey, Silent Cell, thanks for the follow. Like I say, catch us every other weekend around this time, 6 p.m. Central Standard. Talk about a variety of Star Citizen related subjects.
Yes, our next show will be May 2nd. And also, do not forget that the clown is moving around. Don't Sleep, Won't Sleep with Eggy right after this show at 2000 hours Central. That's 8 o'clock. And Pineview Drive, wherever she is, go there, watch her, scare her.
Yeah, 8 p.m. Central, so probably an hour from now. But and she really puts it out there because she's playing a horror game, and yet if folks are hitting the donate button down there and donating $2,
Horror.
Zombie screams and horror. I believe I said horror game.
Yeah.
Yes, a thriller.
And Eggy's here. She's actually watching us. Good.
Eggy. All right.
We're going to have to
check out
get
her show later. Very popular show here. A lot of people hang around in the live chat and either help her get through it or they donate and they scare the out of her.
That's how we help her get through it.
Oh gosh. I donated, but I jumped with you, Eggy. Oh, let's see. Oh yeah, I love the little Bug Smashers TV screen. 99 little bugs in the code. 99 little bugs in the code. Take one down, patch it around. 127 little bugs in the code.
Can you show BB-8 or BB-88 or whatever?
Yes.
I think everyone here is going to get a charge out of that. If you have not seen this, this is amazing how the technology is coming out.
All right.
Real technology.
Real. So we're diverging a bit from Star Citizen, folks, to one of the influences that brought you Star Citizen. You have maybe seen some of the videos of, rather some Star Wars related videos. This is one about BB-8, which in the first trailer was the droid that kind of rolls along. And the thing is, it's not CGI. They're showing it. They bring it out on the stage here. This robot really does. It's a ball. It totally spins around, and yet it's still got the dome, the head staying right on top, or however they want to move it. And I'm looking at this, and I'm thinking, I could think about this thing actually exploring Mars or some other planet. It's like we actually have an astromech droid now.
Yeah,
This is like,
can you imagine it coming in to wake you up in the morning?
well, it's well designed that if you trip over it, get mad, and kick it, it may go places.
Goal! Sorry.
We should probably, on this note, while everybody's watching it, say we'll see you back on May 2nd. And best to everybody, and be safe. And we'll see you next time.
Yes, thank you all for watching. And glad for you to join us again here for another episode of Star System Report. Like I say, remember to tune in and check out Eggie's show later tonight. And we'll see y'all in the verse.
Say goodnight, Whoop.
Bye.